Okay, so we are starting live here. I'm also live on TikTok and I'm recording this. So I'm just giving a moment for everyone to join in, and I'm just getting everything ready here. That's great. So today's chat is about boundaries, and I think it's something that all of us struggle with. And the reason I specifically made this class, this chat, and I'm busy working on a masterclass that I will be putting up on my website. The reason for it is actually a very particular event. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. I want to talk about for me as a life coach and hypnotherapist. So maybe I should just introduce myself to those who don't know me. I'm Nadia Brand. I'm a life coach and hypnotherapist and author of Brand New Body and Happy Hormones. So I do a lot of coaching. I've done that for the past 15 years and I've learned a lot of stuff. And I always feel that I can't make recommendations or talk about things with my clients if I haven't experienced it myself or have knowledge from other people's experience or research that I've done. So this particular event that I'm going to discuss with you, how did I come about wanting to talk about boundaries? So first, let's actually talk about what boundaries are, and then I'll get into why do I want to talk about boundaries in the first place. So boundaries are actually, if you can imagine, you are a house, and the boundaries and fences around you keeps the house safe and protected from the outside world. And that's exactly the same. You are protecting your self-worth, your self-respect, your self-love, who you are, your identity and your value systems when we put up boundaries around us. So if you can imagine that if you are not putting boundaries around your house, what would happen? If you had a house in the middle of a city or on a farm somewhere and your house is open to the world, that is the same as if you didn't have boundaries, personal boundaries with yourself. So if you have the structure and you leave it open to anyone, what can happen? Well, people can come into your yard, people can come and go into your garden, they might even come into your home, invade your home. So having personal boundaries is essential for your own well-being. And a lot of the time we struggle with personal boundaries because of our childhood or things we've experienced in the past. And so I'll now explain what happened to me on this past Christmas holiday to make you understand that this is the reason I'm talking about boundaries today, because of my own experience, my own personal weak boundaries. And when I realized I had weak boundaries, I realized, hey, this is something that probably a lot of people are struggling with and I might need to talk about. So what happened on an event this Christmas holiday, I live in Cape Town in South Africa. And I went away for Christmas holidays. My parents have got a beach house on the coast. And so that's where we went. And there's a whole big street braai. Now, a braai is a barbecue for people who don't live in South Africa. It's a street braai, so it's very community-based. People are all joining in. And for those who know me, I'm not really a drinker. I might have a glass of champagne now and again or a cocktail once in a while, but I actually don't drink on a regular basis. And this was the 30th of December, so it's kind of like just before New Year. And I was at this street braai, and it was quite late and I hadn't been drinking, so I was hanging around with some friends and family. And what I started realizing is as people were getting more and more intoxicated, they started overstepping more and more boundaries with me in specific. I remember standing with a group of people and this one gentleman said, hey, be careful of these guys. This is my son-in-law and this is my son, and these guys are a little bit dodgy. Don't mix with them, laughing it off. But in fact, he was the guy that I should have been worried about. He would keep coming up to me and hugging me and saying really inappropriate comments. Just a hugging going on. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're such a lovely lady. Oh, look at you. Oh. And in that moment, I realized I really didn't like that feeling. I really didn't want to be hugged at that moment. I don't want to be in the situation. And I kept feeling like I was laughing it off and trying to push this person off. But I didn't set a very, very clear boundary there. The clear boundary would have said, hey, you're getting in my space. Do you mind just standing over there? that's a boundary. It doesn't have to be that I need to explain why or make myself feel uncomfortable. It's just very simple. You're getting in my space. Would you mind just standing over there? But we don't want to, right? We don't want to set a boundary with people because we are so scared of looking bad. I'm not a good person if I say no to people. I'm not a good person if I push people away or say that they're rude or set a boundary for myself. And this is the problem. This is why we have weak boundaries, because through our experiences, continuously, we've overstepped our own boundaries. When this person, the person even made rude comments like, hey, let's go get a room. This is a much older gentleman, but it also reminded me of childhood. You know, how often in childhood are we told to, oh, just go and hug your grandma or your uncle or, you know, this person, and you feel really, really uncomfortable. You don't really want to hug these people. You don't want them to be in your personal space, and yet you are forced to. So I think a lot of parents in that moment, for fear of wanting the children to seem rude, they basically forcing children to overstep their own personal boundaries. Instead of saying, hey, would you feel comfortable giving uncle whatever a hug? Would you feel uncomfortable giving grandpa a hug, or are you okay? And if the kid looks, the parent needs to read the body language, right? If the kid is looking like, I don't want to, then don't force them. But how many of us were forced as children at school, forced to share things, forced to do things for other people, even when we didn't feel like it, for fear of being rude, for fear of not being kind? And this is where I want you to distinguish it. Setting boundaries for yourself are an act of self-love, self-respect, and self-preservation. They are actually very, very important. Self-preservation, a boundary is not something that is about someone else, it is about you. What often happens with boundaries is we feel guilt the moment we put a boundary down. We feel bad for the other person. And so we would rather compromise our own boundaries and keep other people happy. And that is called people pleasing. There's a lot of people who do people pleasing, and people pleasing is part of having weak boundaries. So I want to kind of just delve in a little bit and talk about especially on my live Facebook group. I haven't got the comments on TikTok because I get sometimes quite interesting comments on there. But on my Facebook group, if there's anyone who wants to leave a comment about, is there a moment in your life or something that you remember where someone asked you to do something that made you feel uncomfortable that you now regret doing? Okay, and also for my people on TikTok, if you can just ponder and think about what moment in your life do you regret having not said no? And I can tell you there are way too many. Getting in the wrong car, going to parties that I shouldn't have gone to, drinking that I didn't want to do, but you don't want to look uncool. You want to fit in with a group. You want to conform to society's rules of how you should be. So there's different things also, I think, in the social groups of masculine and feminine. I think for men, there's social norms of you're not a man if you don't drink, you're not a man if you don't sleep around, you're not a man if you treat women in a specific way, hey, let's buddy up. And I also experienced that even on that night. There was almost like a pack mentality around the guys. Not a single guy stood up in that moment and said, hey, we don't speak to her like that, or hey, you're getting a little bit too close to my, friend, my, someone in the family or whatever it is. No one's standing up for the people who have lost their voice in that moment. Also, people are not reading other people's discomfort. If you look uncomfortable in a situation, which I did, I was like pulling away like, haha, this isn't funny. But I lost my voice in that moment, and I don't want to be like that. So this is why I'm doing this. I want to help others to learn how to say no, to not feel guilty or bad anymore because you are putting a boundary down. But first you need to know how to identify when you have weak boundaries, right? So weak boundaries are those things where you feel discomfort in situations where you wanted to say no, but didn't. Okay, so just let's slow down for a moment. So I want you to take a moment right now and see what comes up in your mind. Where in time, again, were you put in a position either at home as a child, at school, at work, when you were a teenager, recently, where someone made you feel so uncomfortable, but instead of saying, no, I'm not going to do it, or no, I don't feel like it, or this makes me uncomfortable, we smiled and took whatever it was that happened. So the fact that you need to start recognizing these patterns within yourself is the important bit, because we all have them. Have you ever been in a position where someone asked you for money and you didn't know how to say, I don't actually lend money to people? Or someone groped you at a party and you just laughed it off and walked away, instead of saying, that's totally inappropriate, please don't do that again. The biggest cause of all of this is kind of what I talked about a little bit earlier. When we allow ourselves as children to think that we are deserving of love, or we need to be a specific way, or be kind, and overstep our own boundaries with ourselves. We sacrifice ourselves for other people's happiness, which also feeds into low self-worth. If you don't think you deserve better treatment, then you allow people to treat you badly. So I'll give you another example. I try to use examples in real life to show people what happens to me, what I do, and why I do these things. So recently, a person I knew from very, very long ago approached me and said, hey, would you like to come for a coffee? I hadn't seen this person in a while. And I was like, yeah, that would be fine. Coffee sounds good. My intuition kind of said, do you really want to be friends with this particular person right now? And I was like, oh, give people a chance. So the arrangement was that we would meet on a specific day for a coffee. The arrangement was that that person would call me when their partner had picked up the children, and it would take them half an hour to get this side where I am, and then they'd let me know when they're driving so I could go to the meeting place where we were supposed to meet. I had a funny feeling, and this is where my intuition kicked in. And again, this is where I want you to start understanding where boundaries and your intuition are linked. Boundaries and intuition are very, very closely linked. I knew, just in my feeling, my gut feeling, this person is quite unreliable. I should have, in that instance, when it approached 12 o'clock, texted or called and said, are the arrangements still the same? Because the arrangements were, okay, between 12:30 and 1 we will meet, but let me know when you leave so that I can leave and meet you half an hour later. So what actually happened is I didn't say anything. I didn't want to seem like I'm pushy or that I'm, rigid in some way. So I'm like wishy-washy, cool, this doesn't bother me. So I left everything till 12:30. Then I started getting ready, kind of knowing I should have heard from this person by now because the arrangement was between 12 and 1. Again, I didn't say anything. I didn't text. I didn't do anything. So this is what I'm trying to show you where weak boundaries are, right? In that moment, I should have texted and said, hey, it's 12:30. I haven't heard from you. If I don't hear from you in the next 5 minutes, I assume we need to postpone. Or, then we need to reschedule because I'm not going to make it anymore. But I didn't. Okay, so this is where you guys are learning from my experience, right? So what happened in that moment is I left it, again, trying to be the nice guy, seem really chill and relaxed. 1:45, I texted and said, I'm on my way to the shop. I had to go and buy something for my daughter from the shop. And I thought, just do that anyway. Let me know if you've left already. So 1:45, get in my car, go to the shop. It's in the area where we're meeting. Did the shopping at 5 minutes to 1. By this time, the meeting should have happened, or some communication should have happened by now, and it hadn't. What do? Oh, I text. Again, very scared of confrontation, right? Scared of just making that call. Texted, okay, I'm at the meeting place. I haven't heard from you. If I don't hear from you in the next 5 minutes, I'm leaving. Done. And then I thought, that's a bit weak. Let me call the person. So I called and I made 2 calls that just went straight into voicemail. 2 minutes later, so 12:57, 3 minutes before the date or the arrangement or the coffee meeting should have basically happened already, the person calls me and says, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm only leaving now. And I was like, that's the moment. That's the defining moment where this whole process and why I'm having this workshop, this, webinar with you. That's the moment I felt it. My intuition just said, enough. Enough of this bullshit. You allow people to overstep time personal boundaries, and these things are important to you. Time is important to you. Your time is precious. You value punctuality. And this person, who should have known at 12 o'clock that he was running late, didn't let you know. And in the first place, you didn't really want to go to this meeting, and already you didn't say, you kind of went like, oh, okay, let's see what happens. I overstepped so many personal boundaries for myself that I realized, hey, I need to sort this out. I need to sort this stuff out, and I need to address this with other people, because if I'm having issues with it, surely someone else is having issues too. So in that moment, I said, listen, you're not going to make it in time. I'm going to go home, and we can reschedule for some other time. The end. Oh, I'm so sorry, yeah, but I'm leaving now, and maybe you can just wait half an hour. And the old me would probably have said, oh, you know, you did not have it. You are here. Why don't you just walk around a little bit? And I was like, no. You know, what is boundaries about? Being able to say no. I said no. Put the phone down, got in my car, left, came home, cooked lunch. And then this is now how intricate these boundaries become. This person started calling. Again, now I'm like clear on boundaries. I'm not going to answer the phone while I'm cooking. This person knows that I'm not interested in meeting up right now. There's no point in having another conversation. It became a barrage of calls and texts, and I'm sorry, but I've already left now and I'm on my way. And if you still want to meet me, please. And I'm racing, and I'm like, it doesn't matter what is happening after the arrangement and the boundary. A lot of people now would feel guilty, right? They're going to feel guilty, and they go, oh, this person's now leaving their house. They're now driving all this way. And if I don't go, they're going to sit there on their own, and I'm going to feel bad. And in that moment, I realized it doesn't matter. I'm not responsible for their actions or their feelings. So in that moment, I started birthing boundaries for myself. I started realizing it is okay to say no. It's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to say to someone, you've missed the boat. The arrangements were between this and this time period. You didn't have the right arrangements. You are disrespecting my time. No. And even there, that inkling of eventually I just texted back and said, listen, I'm not coming, regardless of whether you're sitting there and waiting as long as I've waited. I didn't actually wait that long. I went there and I was probably there for 5 minutes, because my intuition already told me this person's unreliable. Why don't we listen to our intuition, right? Our intuition. You are about to get into the wrong car. You're about to get into a car where someone's been drinking. You don't want to look like the prudish person, the uncool person. So you get in the car and you risk your life. Or you let your child watch TV while you're cooking, but you are totally unaware that they're watching stuff on YouTube where the ads have got, women twerking and sexualizing themselves, but you're not putting the boundaries down because you're scared of upsetting your child, you're scared of upsetting your boss, you're scared of upsetting your workers, you're scared of upsetting your parents, your partners. How many times do we have weak boundaries with our partners, in terms of privacy? So I'll give you an example again of two things that both sides are equally right. You have a person who has got nothing to hide on their phone. Their partner is jealous or suspicious and keeps going onto their phone, checking things. The boundary would be, hey, I see you keep checking my phone. I'd appreciate it if you didn't do that. Rather come and talk to me about why do you have the need not to trust me, or why are you not trusting me? That would be a boundary. Or let's do it the other side. Your partner is on their phone, but they're hiding it. You're not allowed to see text. They're on their phone in the bathroom, in the toilet. There's something going on. And again, your intuition says something doesn't feel right. Now, instead of approaching it, you might go and snoop on the phone now and break a boundary, right, of privacy. Instead of approaching the person and saying, hey, when you behave like this, when you are going into the toilet for very long with your phone, or when you are sitting and turning away from me when you are texting people, it makes me feel insecure and that there's something else going on. Can you just explain to me, what is going on at the moment? But again, we are so scared of upsetting people, causing abandonment or rejection or conflict that we don't approach it at all. So a lot of the stuff you'll see comes from our childhood and how we were treated as children, the boundaries with ourselves. You were allowed, maybe your parents said, stop being so sensitive, stop being like this, stop crying. That's not so bad. It isn't so bad. This isn't a big deal. And every time that someone invalidates your feelings or your experience, you've learned to take more rubbish, take more crap from the world because your needs are not important. You are here to please everyone else. And that is actually not true. The fact that you're going to have boundaries, just know there's going to be pushback. Like your home that I explained in the beginning, your little house. The moment you start putting fences around your home and the outsiders want to come into your property, there's going to be, intruders, people coming to push your boundaries, to come and say, are you sure you don't want to, go for coffee, go to the party, drink too much, have a joint, sleep with inappropriate people, just so you don't come across as a bad person? We all need to first know what our boundaries are. So our boundaries run very close to our values. What do you value? So if you want to start figuring out, well, what are my boundaries? What do you value in life? What is important to you in life? For me, it's things like punctuality. I love people being on time, and I don't mind people being late as long as they text or let me know or give me a call. There's a reason. But people persistently just having wishy-washy arrangements isn't suitable for me. And that was what I explained to you earlier. I don't like wishy-washy. When something should have happened in a particular time, just let me know. Then I can arrange and change my things. Things with money. I just have as a rule, I don't lend people money. It's just something, I will help them to find the money, but I'm not going to lend people money. Then it could be with boundaries within the relationship with sexuality or personal space, allowing people to get too close to you or asking you to do sexual things or hugging you when you don't want to, and not having the ability to say, hey, you guys, that isn't appropriate. I don't feel like it. I've even had some of my clients, and they wouldn't mind me sharing the story because they're anonymous, but clients who have changed certain things about themselves, about their looks, about their bodies, just to please someone else. A lot of the time it comes from low self-worth. When you think that you need to be a specific way in order for you to be loved. You as you are, just as you are, isn't lovable enough. You need to be funnier, sexier, smarter, cooler, thinner, richer, wealthier, more status, whatever it is. Then they will love you. And so you start sacrificing more and more of yourself. This person might be into kinky parties you weren't before, but now you're so scared they're going to leave you. You're so scared of abandonment from your childhood, of having parents that weren't there for you, that you say, okay, sure, fine, because you just want to keep that love. You just want to keep that person interested. So I want you to understand that it's very important to have personal boundaries and boundaries with yourself. How many times do we overstep our own boundaries? We'll say, I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to start whatever program or jogging or personal space or go and get help with something. And then we don't. We don't honor our own values and boundaries for ourselves. So I'm going to round it up today. I'm not going to go on for too long because I think this is just a nice little taster to get you guys thinking, to get you guys chatting. So I'm just going to check if anyone wants to leave a little question or a comment before we end in about 6 minutes time. You can drop it down in the comments below. I'm just checking TikTok and I'm checking just on my live there. If anyone has a question or something that they want about boundaries, or something where they need advice on a boundary that has been overstepped, then you can do that now. If not, but I want to say it's easier to say no than you think. And initially, I'm live on Facebook as well. So you guys can follow me at Nadia Brand, either on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, and Nadia's with a Y, Nadyabrand, Nadia Brand. And I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, TikTok, and I'm on YouTube, and I'm on Instagram. And you could also have personal sessions with me. But what I want you to understand is when you first start putting boundaries down, you're going to struggle. You're going to feel uncomfortable, and I don't want you to stop. It's the discomfort that is going to show you there's relief on the other side when you have honored your own boundaries. It's something that's going to make you feel safe, like going into your home, knowing your boundaries are set, your house, your home, your self-love, your self-respect, your self-worth is protected by you, is going to make you feel amazing. It's going to fill up your little vessel, and you're going to get stronger and stronger every time you learn to say, no, thank you, not today. It can be as simple as, oh, you want a slice of cake? You want an extra portion? Oh, it's so nice. No, thank you. No explanation, no justification, no reasoning, just no, thank you. Someone standing too close. Would you mind just standing a little bit further away? Thank you. That's it. Someone gropes you. Please don't do that. It's inappropriate. So I want to thank everyone for joining me today in my little chat here. And I just want to check everyone's okay on this side. I'm on all these different platforms, so it's a little bit difficult to check in, but I want you guys to have a super day. Thank you for joining me on this quick little live that I'm doing today. I'm also launching the full-on masterclass program, which is going to include some healing meditations at the end of it to help address it on a subconscious level. So you can actually have the session that is recorded that you can listen to over and over again. That's going to help you. So anyone who's interested in that, please message me, DM me, pop a comment down. And anyone who's commenting or DMing on these lives will get 50% discount when I launch this, this course that I'm going to be doing about boundaries, everything on identifying, seeing what weak boundaries look like, what you can do, the answers you can have. So anyone interested, that's great. Just follow me or DM me and I will send you the details. And all of you will get 50% off immediately. So I will send you a code. So I want to thank everyone today for being here, allowing me this time to help you understand and see what boundaries are. And again, if you need to get in touch, you can message me on any of my platforms: YouTube, Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok, Facebook, I'm everywhere. So have a fabulous day, have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you again on